Hey everybody, it's Doug here, Doug Mystic Guy on Board Game Geek. Doug Herring on YouTube, just getting ready to play a new playthrough of next game. I'm still learning Sword and Sorcery, which will probably be next, maybe. We'll see, I think so. But in the meantime, we are going to be trying out this War of Mine, which is a recent Kickstarter release. Now, we're going to do something different. Now, I've never played the game. In fact, I've intentionally not read much. I get the game conceptually, but it says here that that you don't have to read the rules. So we're going to test that theory because it's a kind of play-as-you-go type scenario. So I've done this setup, all the setup stuff, and I'll talk about our characters and a couple of setup elements. And I'm also going to talk about a few other things, but then we're going to get right into gameplay because I basically set the game up, ready to play, and we're just going to try and play it. Now, there are more extensive commentary about the rules in this big book called the Book of Scripts. But the theory is that you can just start playing. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm just getting over a really nasty cold that I had last week. Kind of slowed me down on some things, this being one of them. And my voice is still a little affected, but it's going away, so it's all good. But we're going to play this game and see how it goes. Now, this War of Mine is based on a video game about civilians stuck in a war zone up in, I would say, somewhere, maybe the Ukraine or some Eastern Bloc country that has been overrun by war. And I guess it's kind of toward the tail end of the war or something. I'm not sure. But regardless of that, it's in a very cold area of the world, and some people are hunkering together. They may or may not know each other, trying to survive to see if they can live out the war and make it to the end. And that's what we're going to try to do. And to do that, we have these chapters and chapter objectives that we have to complete. And if we can make it through the chapters, then we will survive and win the game. This game has some very unique mechanics. One of the most unique is that we don't control individual players. The game is controlled by all the players, and the game book tells you when to move things to the next player. So I thought that was rather interesting. We'll have to see how that goes. That's a very interesting concept. Now, in this game, there are also a bunch of add-ons and expansions, and I was thinking about playing with one of them, and you can see here that I have this book of stretch goals that has some really cool stuff in it. And also this campaign book called The Heart of the City that includes the sewers and the Orphans of War. I was considering playing with the Orphans of War expansion, but I decided to just play the base game. And so we're gonna do that. I'm not going to play with any expansions or add-ons. But even though they do sound cool, we're going to just play the base game and see how that goes. There's also something called the Endless Night campaign. It's just all kinds of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Now we get to start the game with 3 characters. These are our characters, and these miniatures actually are the actual characters that we're going to play. They're not just color or just representations. So let's take a look at the characters. I'll give you a quick idea of how they work. Now again, this is interesting because I haven't read all the rules, and I'm kind of playing it the way it suggests. So we're going to see how this goes, but I can't tell you enough about the characters. I'm not yet sure how empathy works in the game, for example. I think it's kind of play as you go. But the 2 things I do know is inventory. That's how much stuff they can carry. So we got Boris here. He can carry a lot. He's also got a prowess of 2. That's his ability to defend himself. Sveta she was a school headmistress, so she's not very good at a fight, nor is she very good at carrying things. But she's got some other stuff, and she's got a high empathy. And then Amelia was a lawyer. Now, she's got her journal. It says at the beginning of the dawn phase, Amelia may raise her fatigue by any amount to lower her misery by the same amount. She basically writes in her journal, stays up, gets a little more fatigued by staying up, but writes in her journal to lower any misery. Now, our characters don't start with misery. They do start hungry, however. So they have rank 2 hunger. Now, rank 1's on the other side. Doesn't mean anything to have rank 1 hunger. It just doesn't impact you in any way. Rank 2, actually, what this means is it takes one of our actions. So normally we have 3 actions, but we start off rather hungry, so it limits our actions. And there's more statuses that can affect you. And we do have some resources to help combat that, though. In our storage area, we have some parts. We have water, that's what these are. We have wood, We have a shovel, a lockpick, and 3 raw food. Now, raw food when we have to eat, it'll make a big difference for us. And we're going to have to eat. There's certain times where you have to eat, and if you don't, then that hunger level gets worse for you. If you do eat, and you do eat the right kind of food, the hunger level gets better for you. We can build things, like we can build a stove or a garden, all kinds of different things to enhance the building we've decided to call home during the war. And that's how the game is going to start. We just basically have gathered together our 3 characters, Boris, Sveta, and Amelia, and we are in the first room of the house, and we get to decide and start making decisions for ourselves as players. Now again, the players are kind of playing out the story. So we're going to play now in a normal game, and I'll just tell you how this goes so you can get an idea and a feel for it, because it does have a rather unique and unusual gameplay mechanic. But as you can see, we're going to take actions. Now, after each stage of actions, in other words, after each player has taken an action, so we're going to start with our morning event. We're going to draw and resolve an event card, and after, like, let's say I'm the first player, I resolve the event card, and then it's going to go to the next player to start resolving the day card. Each character gets 3 actions, and after each one has taken an action, then that play then passes to someone else. And then it continues on. When we're done with that, it goes to the Dusk phase. Someone does the Dusk phase, and it passes to the next player. So you can see each player helps contribute to the events, but does not necessarily run a character by themselves. They run all the characters. So let's get started, and we're going to talk about. So I've done the setup. All the cards are very specifically out on the board. We have a structured chapter deck that we've built. We have some other cards that aren't quite in the game yet. There's these cards with a red exclamation point in the corner. They will come into play if certain event cards come up, and we'll see what happens when those occur, basically. So the first thing that happens in the game is once we've got we start with 3 characters, and our building is all full and set up of stuff. You can see we got some open rooms already. We can do take this action and poke about, but to get in some of these rooms, we need stuff. Like in here, the bars, we're going to need a saw blade to cut through the bars. And to get in the rubble, we can take 2 people, or we can use our shovel, which is in our inventory. We're probably going to do some of that, because when you go through these buildings, you can get stuff, and stuff is valuable. There's stuff in the building that we can collect. And then later on we can go scavenging outside the building as well. So that's going to be one of the interesting parts of the game. So I think we just get started and start playing, since I didn't, like I said, I'm trying to play it the way it says, which is not to read all the rules, just to start playing, and the rules will become self-evident. We will see. So again, I did check out the FAQ for setup just to make sure I had everything right, figured out status tokens, and then read about the shared experience of the game. And you can see it tells you basically how to set up, and I've basically followed that. Didn't do the same exact thing for tokens, but it's close enough. All the board stuff I set up exactly as it states. So what happens after we set up the game is we go to morning. So we're going to draw the first card from our event deck and see what that says. It says, do not forget to add cold tokens to the cold space on the board as described in the revealed event. So right now we don't have any cold tokens. We just have to draw an event card. So let's get that done and start getting this game going. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is draw this Chapter 1 card here. That's our first event. And it says, Chapter 1. When the Civil War broke out, many people thought that it would only last a couple of weeks. It's been a year since the military surrounded the rebels in the capital, cutting off all supply lines. The civilians still trapped in the city suffer from hunger, disease, and the constant threat of shelling. It's another day of desperate waiting for the end of this terrible war. Determine the objectives for each of the 3 chapters of the campaign. Find a final objective card. Now, see, I already did the setup part as part of the game setup. It says find an objective card in the objective deck and place it on the objective space of the board. We have done that. Then draw 2 more objective cards, place them on the final objective. These cards should be placed face up, and you may look at them at any time during the game. Remove the remaining objective cards. So we've already done this. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to talk about the objective cards that we put out. This is our final objective right here, and it basically says survive. At least one character from the starting group, and it says you can read them all, so from the starting group must survive until the end of the game, with each state, the hunger, the misery, the wounds, and the illness equal to or less than 2. The fatigue is ignored. So that's our final objective. And then I kept these out so we could do this on camera. We're going to basically take 2 of those, and we're going to play them. So our second objective below there is going to be collect vegetables for the refugees. At any moment, you may discard any number of vegetables without resolving their effects. For each discarded vegetable, advance the objective marker by 1. That's going to go on here. That's going to be our second objective, and then there's a reward for solving that. There's a reward for failing too. Taking care of ourselves. At the end of this of the chapter, each character's misery must be lower than 2. If we succeed at that, the reward for each character is choose any one state and lower it by 1. The penalty is capitulation. Raise one chosen character's illness by 2. That's bad. So those are basically the 3 things that we have to accomplish. The rest of these are just going to go away. So that basically follows the chapter card here. It says then draw 2 more objectives and place them on the final objective. We've done this. These cards should be placed face up. Remove the remaining objective cards. At the end of the chapter, resolve any reward or penalty from the corresponding objective card. After you've resolved this card, remove it from the game. So we have, boom. And that's how we start our game. And then we go into our day's actions. And there's a little story that says, a new day begins. Outside is an outgoing conflict and sniper bullets for us. We cannot leave the safety of our shelter, but there are improvements to be made. We should make this place feel more like home. We can use beds, a stove, or even a radio. But first, we'll need to clear some space. Hopefully we might find something useful in the rubble. And then it says day actions. We're going to take 3 actions per character, but of course each of us has only 2 actions because we're hungry, and then we're going to be able to do these things in any order we want. Now, we have these 3 characters here. We got Boris, Sveta, and Amelia. And let's see. So, you know what? I need to mark the colors on the characters so I remember which one's which without having to take a serious look at the mini. Okay, so we got Boris, who's orange here, and should be obviously he's the only guy, so that's the guy figure. But this one here, the yellow one, is Sveta. She's the school headmistress, former school headmistress. And Amelia, in blue, is the lawyer. So we're going to decide on what we want to do. And I think the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start trying to clear. Now, it's always good to leave somebody at the guard place station, I think. I don't know. I think, well, definitely at, yeah, in the evening, you have to assign these people. But right now, we can assign them out to anything we want on the board that we can get to. So we can get to here. We can get up to here to these doors. If we go to the door, we need to pick a lock. If we go to the rubble, we need to dig. But there's stuff back there, and that's important. We can also search in the heaps, and that's going to be very valuable for us to do. So I think to start with, we're going to send Boris over to the rubble, over here. Now it says to dig through. It says requires a shovel or requires at least 2 characters. So we're going to give him the shovel to dig through the rubble, and that's going to be his first action. And I did not intend for that to rhyme. I apologize. So then we're going to send. Let's see. We'll send Sveta up here to search in this heap and see what she finds. We could also just, and I think we're going to have Amelia come down here and poke about, see if she can gather some more stuff. Because there are a whole bunch of things that we can make, and it says placing new fitting cards. It says you may choose any fitting cards, but only from the deck in the fitting space. So let me show you what that looks like right now, because we do have a bunch of things we could technically build. So we could gather some stuff, like, so these are the fittings that we currently have. We could build a workshop, a simple heater, a rainwater collector, a radio, moonshine, a metal workshop, herb garden, a dreadful trap, a crude stove, and a bed. Now, the crude stove and the bed are very valuable, I think, but with the bed we need 4 components and 3 wood. We already have that, so if we gain a few more, we might be able to build a few more things. I'm also thinking that the herb garden might be really useful too, but it requires 1 mechanical part, 4 components, and 4 wood. We don't have any mechanical parts yet. We just have that. So let's think about building a bed, because when people rest in a bed, obviously they do better. Anyway, that is going to be the first actions that we do. So now we're going to resolve those actions. So Amelia is going to poke about with her first action. See what she rolled a 3, so I don't think that's going to get her very much. But let's see. So you can see that a 1 to 4 is going to give her a wood or a component. Let's see. I think The components seem to be a little harder to get. I think wood is easier to get, so I think we'll take another component. Let me grab that and put it in our storage. Okay, here is our component. We're going to put it there, so now we have 5 components, and that is her first action done. So let's go on to Boris, who's searching through the rubble. Good news is we don't actually lose our shovel, we just use it. It's just a token we get to put back in our storage. So I'm going to take that off right now, and we're going to flip this over to see what happens. So, rubble remnants. Dig through requires a shovel, so once we dig through this, we can clear it from the board. But right now, we have to do that. And so we're going to put it on that side. Boris is going to go back to the entryway. He's done his actions. I'm just going to put them all back in the guard area once they've done their actions. So we've dug through this rubble a bit, and then next up, we're going to go look through the heap with Sveta. Okay, so Sveta is here. She's going to dig through this heap of stuff and see what we get. You gain 1 electrical part, 1 water, and 3 components. Well, that is outstanding. And it shows you a picture of the things you gain. It says add these to the storage and remove this card from the game. So I'm going to do that. So we get 3 more components. We are loaded with components. Hopefully no one steals them all from us. It's very likely that could happen. There's 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to be able to build some stuff next turn. I also think it's very important that we got some additional water, because water is critical. We only had enough water for 2 people to drink. So now we get 3 more water, and that's basically almost all the water tokens, but we'll use them, trust me. Let's get those out, so it's 2 more water tokens, and then I need to get a electrical part. That is really good. And here is our electrical part, which goes into our storage. So now we got 3 food, lockpick, shovel, electrical parts, 4 wood, 5 water, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 components. That is fantastic. And then this card is removed from the game, and we have discovered that. So she's going to go back there. Now, normally, of course, you know, basically we would already be on the 3rd player at this point, because once I took the actions, I'd pass it to the next player. But of course, we're going to take the same. I'm going to start doing the 2nd round of actions again. I think we're going to try and get a bed built. That would be really good. Okay, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to continue with this deal, and I think we're going to have Sveta go, and she is going to go way up over here and get into that heap right there. That's going to solve that for us. I think we're going to have Amelia craft a item, a new fitting for our place, and then I think Boris will continue to clear this rubble right here and take the shovel with him. Those will be our 2 actions. I don't know if I'm playing this well or not. Like I said, I'm trying to play it the way it says, which is you don't even technically have to read all well, there are no rules. There's this book, and then there's references to rules in the book of scripts. So that's what we're going to do for our 2nd set of actions. So I think the first one, that'll be the easiest one, is we're going to build the bed, and the bed is going to help us later on. See, it says take a nap. We can do that in the bed. It says lower the fatigue of the character placed here by 2. That's pretty good. Or we might, you know, I don't know, we could build the stove. I only have 2 mechanical parts. What about the herb garden? Let me check that out again. The herb garden is 1 mechanical part, 4 components, and 4 wood. What does it do? Cultivate herbs. Roll cigarettes. Yeah, you know what? That would be interesting for us later, I think. I think we're going to stick with this bed, which is 3 components and 4 wood. So we're going to do that. And we're going to build the bed. Boom. We're going to build it right here. Let's take the 3 components. That's these 3 here. Gone. We have used them. I'm just going to put them off the side of the board because we'll use them again later as we gather them back. And then we got to take 4 wood, which is basically all the wood we had in our supply. There we go. And that's it for the bed. And then that means we have built the bed. And I'm going to place it right here in this room. There's a bed in here for people to sleep on. That's pretty awesome. Okay, next up, we're going to go with Boris. He used the shovel again to dig this out. Basically, we just removed the card from the game. It goes here in the hole. And that area is now clear, so we can build on it. And then, so these 2 go back to the guard area. And then last but not least, we have Sveta. She's clearing this heap out. What does it say? You gain a lockpick, 2 components, and 5 wood. That's pretty darn good. That's 2 lockpicks. We're going to add these to the storage. So let me get those out. 2 more components. That's outstanding. Here is 4 of our wood. I need 1 more wood out of the pile there. So for 5, and then I got to get another lockpick. That's pretty cool. And then let's say 2 components. Got that. 1 lockpick, 5 wood. So I just need a lockpick. Here is our second lockpick. That is good to have duplicates of items. Okay, I think we'll see. And then that means that this card is now out of the game. Okay, that is done. And she comes back to the guard station. So let's go take a look at where we're at now. So we cleared some space. We got these areas we've cleared. We built a bed. Now we got some areas going there, and that is basically was our entire day. So next, again, we would continue to pass the book, and we would go to our Dusk phase. So let's take a look at that. Okay, in our Dusk phase, it says the sun has disappeared beneath the horizon. Shadows and darkness now rule over the city. It's a bit safer to go out at this time, but first we must regain some strength. So the first thing we have to do is check water. Okay, let's do that. So it says each character must drink 1 water. Discard this from the storage. For each character that does not drink, you roll. Well, we're not going to do that. We're definitely going to drink since we have 5 water. We're going to drink 3 of them. So each person drank some water. That is good. And then hunger. It gives us some hunger things there. So the first thing we're going to do is we got canned food, raw food, and vegetables. Right now, all we have in our supply is 3 raw food. We're definitely going to have to go get some new food. But we're going to each eat 1 of those, which means each of us is going to consume 1 food from the storage. And that is going to be all 3 of our raw food. That is not great, but what it does do for us is lower our hunger by 1. So, hey, you know what? Feeling pretty good right now. I don't think it's going to last. But then you would continue on, and we move to the evening phase. Now, in the evening phase, it says before nightfall, we must decide who will stay in the shelter to regain strength or guard the door, and who will venture into the ruined city. We can only hope to scavenge some food, meds, and other necessary materials. So we get to assign our characters to 1 of 4 available tasks. We can sleep in a bed, but nobody's fatigued yet. So we have the bed, which is good. We can sleep on the floor. We don't have to worry about that. We can go on guard duty. It says place any number of characters on the guard space to defend the shelter from attacks during the night phase. The higher the prowess of a guard, the better the better. Okay, there must be at least 1 guard on the space, otherwise see 333 in the Book of Scripts. And we're going to raise our character's fatigue by 1, anybody who does that. So we can sleep on the floor, but it raises their fatigue. We can sleep in the bed, it reduces it to 0. So we can keep somebody not fatigued and not hungry. But we can also have characters go scavenging. Well, here's the thing. Boris is our best scavenger. He's got a prowess of 2 and an inventory of 6. So we want to send him out scavenging. It's very important that we do that. So I think that the tasks we're going to assign for this first night, I think we can do with a little fatigue. I think like the hunger thing, fatigue is only going to affect us if it hits level 2. So I think what we're going to have happen here is we're going to have Amelia. She's definitely going to guard the door. We're going to have Boris. He's going to head out into the world. So we're going to put him here to head out into the findings pile. It says when you're going to send somebody to scavenging, you put them out there. And then I think with Sveta, she doesn't have a prowess, but we can also have her guard the door. I'm not sure. I also have to keep looking at their special abilities. None of them are affected right now. But, yeah. Okay. Let me see what we do here. I'm going to think about this a little more, and we'll continue on. Well, I think what we'll do, just to play it safe, is we'll have, since Sveta's really actually useless in a guard situation, we'll have her take a nap. She'll sleep in the bed, and so that means she's not going to gain any fatigue. The other 2 will, but at least one of them will keep their fatigue down. So we're going to have Amelia on guard duty. We're going to have Sveta take a nap, and then we're going to have Boris go out and do his thing. So that ends the evening phase. Now we pass it to the next player, and we go on to the scavenging phase. It says it is safer to move around the city at night. Shots can still be heard, but only sporadically. You strap your backpack on tightly and leave your shelter carefully. You pick your way through the ruined shops and houses that line the shelled streets. This is scavenging. Choose a location. Choose one of 3 locations. Well, we have 3. We have a warehouse, a hotel, and a shelled school. Well, they have a size, medium and small. There's 2 mediums. I don't know what those mean to us yet, but there's a warehouse and the warehouse and the shelled school are mediums, and the hotel is small. Let's see. I think we'll go to the warehouse. Might as well. The warehouse seems like that'd be the place you can get some canned food. That's really good. We need food. So we're going to go to the warehouse and see how that plays out. This is what the warehouse card looks like. It says return 2 exploration cards to have a look at around the area, C159. So we're going to draw some exploration cards based on this and see how it goes. I'm going to read that because we haven't read it. I'm going to go on to that. It says how to do that, and we're going to check it out. We also have to place a noise marker, which is this red token right here, and we're going to do that by placing it on the 1 space up on the board, which is right there. Okay, let me check out Scavenging. Okay, so we have this big, massive deck of exploration cards, and you see this number here, it says 10. We're going to take these and we're going to shuffle them up, and it says to take that amount and place them on top of the card we're going to. So we're going to the warehouse, and we're going to place them on top of it, so 10 cards. Let me see, 1, I'll just take them from different spots, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There. That's quite a bit, but that's what we got there. So we're going to take all of these. According to this, we're going to take all of those and we're going to place them. Oh, I did get to choose equipment. I could have chosen equipment with him. I think I will send him out with a lockpick because we have 2. So I'm just going to place that with his character for right now to show that he left the place with a lockpick. I don't know if we'll need it, but you never know. So I'm basically following what it says. It says prepare the unknown deck and explore. Draw as many explorer cards as shown on the location space. There's 10. Now resolve these cards one after the other. Now technically we'd resolve one, pass it to the next player. All items required during scavenging are put in the findings pile. So we're here right now. We're going to put them in the findings pile, and then later we get to choose which ones we take up to our limit, which for Boris is 6. So let's do that. We'll start resolving our scavenging. Okay. And a door. Peek through the keyhole, return 1 exploration card to look at the next card from the unknown deck, or enter, raise the noise level 1 by 1, or roll for the noise level, or we can end our exploration. Okay. I think, since I don't know how to play this yet, we're going to return 1 exploration card to look at the next card from the unknown deck. So basically what that means is we take the top card from this deck and we place it back on the exploration deck, then we take the next one. You may ignore this card or return 2 exploration cards to save it and use it at any time during the scavenging phase. Hiding place. After rolling a noise level, you may discard this card, ignore an encounter, or perform a backstab. See combat journal sheet for more. Well, I don't know. Let's think about this. Is this worth returning 2 cards for it to see if we have a hiding place for the scavenging phase? I don't know. That's 2 more cards out of the deck, though. I think we're going to ignore it. We're going to ignore that and keep going. We haven't really encountered anything yet. Uh-oh. Okay. Jam door. Map card. Check the current location card for jam door. If there is no jam door card, discard this card and draw a new card for the exploration deck. If there is, you may resolve this card immediately or place it on the exploration slot and resolve it later instead. So let's take a look at that. Let's see, does it say jam door on our warehouse? It says, no, it does not. It says open space, basement entrance, bars, and closed door. That's what it says on our warehouse. So it says, if there is no jam door, discard this card and draw the new card. Okay, so we're going to keep going. What do we get? Search for furniture. You may ignore this card or search for furniture. Return 2 exploration cards, raise the noise level by 1, and roll for noise, or to draw and resolve 1 card from the findings deck furniture chart. Okay, I think we'll do that. It's only a 2 right now, right? So we're gonna do that. We're gonna search for furniture, we're going to return 2 more cards from the exploration deck, and then we're going to search for furniture. Okay, I got to see how that works now. Okay, it's simple. Basically, we roll this black die. If it's below the level, which is currently a 2, then we made noise. A 9, so we're fine, and then we get to draw and resolve 1 card from the findings deck. There are a lot of cards in this game, by the way. This is the findings deck right here, so we're going to draw 1. I did shuffle, but I don't know any of them anyway. Reality impact. Something unexpected has happened. Draw a card from the colors deck to determine the color of the script. Then check the number with that color on the rare findings chart on the current location card. Okay, wow. Find that number in the book of scripts and resolve the corresponding text. Afterwards, place this card under the current location card. Then, when that location card is removed from the game, shuffle this reality impact card back into the findings deck. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to first follow this. Is going to check the number. We're going to draw a colors card. I'll show you what that does. This isn't complicated, but it is interesting. So we're going to draw a green color. So it's going to be green is going to be the one we're going to look at. So we're going to look at our rare findings card on the warehouse, or rare findings on the warehouse. So we're going to look at the book of scripts 255, entry 255. So I will get the book of scripts out and we'll take a look at that. So this is going to be a spoiler, so just warning you now. I haven't really spoiled much yet, but this is going to be a spoiler. This is coming straight out of the book, the storybook. It says, first draw an additional findings card and resolve it. Then we take a look around. Okay, so let's do that. We're going to draw another findings card and resolve it. What do we get? See the corresponding chart below, pantry, furniture heap, to check what you have found. Okay. Pantry, furniture, or heap. Then roll the black die for the special findings and see if the current location card, for the result. Add the tokens to the findings pile. Okay, so let's see how that works. Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know how that works. Let me look it up. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm going to have to look that one up. Okay, so what happens here is this goes in our findings pile. We're going to get to choose which one of these we're going to collect when we do our collection. It says see the corresponding chart below, pantry, furniture, heap, and check to check what you have found. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to go on to, let's see, we're going to then roll on this special chart right here to see what special findings we have, and that is basically going to be a D10. Let's see, we get a 1, which means nothing. So we found nothing extra at that point. And then we get to continue reading 255. I'm going to double check to make sure I did that right with that card, but for now we'll just leave it as is. Walking around the building, we kept feeling a chill. Bullet holes in the windows meant that winter had managed to get inside. But here, apart from the darkness and stuffiness, it's warm. Actually, it's very warm. The walls of this part of the storehouse are insulated with a thick layer of mineral wool. The room's full of dust and moisture, but it would definitely be hard to find a better place of protection against the cold. Let's go to work. We can take down enough insulation material to keep at least a few of the rooms in the shelter warm. Return 2 exploration cards and see entry 1534. It'd be better to look for something to eat. Back to the game. Well, we know we're going to get a bunch of... We can get some food. We can get a food. I don't know if that's enough. Maybe it's better to look for food, something to eat. It's not too cold yet. I don't know. So we have to lose 2 more cards from the exploration deck. I think we're going to pass on that. We're not going to get that insulation right now. I may pay for that later, but that's what we're going to do. So we're going to pass on the insulation and skip it. Okay, but we still have some more cards to go, so we're going to keep going. We only have a couple more left. It says, I think I saw something. Return as many exploration cards as you wish and roll the black die. Add the number to the return exploration card. Result 1 through 5. Draw and resolve a resident card. Well, there's only 2 cards left, so I'm not going to do any. I'm just going to do one, the one that we drew. So it's It's going to be a 0. So we're just going to roll, see what we get. So I'll just roll it out here on the table. A 2. So we're definitely going to draw a residence. Let's see what we get. Now the residence cards are right here. Let's see. Civilians. It turns out that there are miserable-looking people hiding in here, mostly elderly women and children. Place this card on the exploration slot. Okay. Where is that? Oh, it's down here. Okay, so we got one of the exploration slot. Until you leave the location, whenever you take anything from an exploration card marked as private, roll the black die and compare the result with the empathy of each character present. As a result, okay, now I know what empathy does. Okay, you may return one exploration card to talk to them or trade with them. Well, I don't know that trading is going to be very good because we don't have a lot of stuff to trade. I didn't bring a lot of things with me other than a lockpick. So maybe we'll just return a card. We got 2 more cards there. We're going to return a card to talk to them. So we're going to go to page 933 in the book and see and talk to these civilians. Oh, sorry, 123 rather. So 123. We are sitting on some rubble. Sometimes you need to sit quietly for a time before you finally feel like talking again. Roll the black die. So we're going to roll the black die as we sit on the rubble to talk to some civilians. There's a lot of die rolling in this. Okay. 3. All right, so we rolled a 3 on the black die. That means we're going to roll. We're going to go to entry 1173. Okay. Flip into that right now. 1173. Okay. It says these people don't possess any valuable information. We should go back. We should probably move on and can rest after getting home. Okay. So we talked to the folks. They really didn't know anything. This is just going to sit here, and at the end of the trade, it's going to just go away. Okay. Okay, find that number of the book. Okay, we did that. We did the scripts. Just making sure we're not missing anything. Okay, so we're just down to 1 more card. We're going to draw that and see we're not having a lot of luck here. We went through a whole bunch of stuff. Okay, basement entrance. Enter. Raise the noise level by 3 and roll noise. That's rough. It says map card. Check the current location card. It does say basement entrance. If there is a basement entrance, you may resolve this card immediately or place it on the exploration slot and resolve it later instead of drawing a new exploration card. Well, there aren't any. It says after entering, add 5 cards from the unknown exploration deck to the unknown deck. Also, you may discard this card during the scavenging phase to draw and resolve 2 finding cards instead of 1. Huh. Okay. Let me think about that. Okay, well let's take a chance here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3 and roll the noise. See what happens when we make a lot of noise. Maybe we get lucky. We didn't. We rolled a 1, which means we made noise. Now I have to determine what happens when you make noise. Okay, whenever the game tells you to roll noise, if the result is equal to or less, you're triggered equal to or less than the noise marker, an encounter is immediately triggered. Draw and resolve the top card from the residence deck. Okay, we're going to do that. But we're going to get to add a whole bunch of cards to our pile and keep scavenging for the night. Okay, civilians again. All right. It turns out that the miserable-looking people hiding in the... okay, place this card in the exploration slot. We've done that. And then it says, and roll the black die and compare. Okay, there's no private on there, so we don't have to worry about that. You may return 1 exploration card to talk with them or trade with them. Okay, well let's draw our basement cards. There's a bunch of people hiding in the basement. We're going to add 5 cards from the exploration deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Also, you may discard this card during the scavenging phase to draw and resolve 2 finding cards instead of 1. Well, let's see if we get one first. So we're going to put that up there. I am going to discard an exploration card again. 1, 2. I'm going to try talking to him. Well, it's the same one, 123, so we know there's nothing. Well, we can try and trade with him. Well, actually, it's a die roll, right? Let me just remind myself. I think that 123 was a die roll. Yeah, we're gonna roll again and see what we get. We're gonna talk to them. Okay, let's see what we get. A 9. That's much better. What happens with a 9? It says go to 853. 853. So we're going to look at encounter 853, and hopefully that gives us something better from talking to them than before. Okay, 853. Huh. They agree amongst themselves. Some are full of hope, others completely without it. We listen to their tales about what has happened over the last few days, along with their gossip about what might happen tomorrow or in the near future. Take a peek at the top card of the event deck. Okay, so we're going to get the look at the event deck. They kind of have an idea of what's going on. That's kind of cool. So let's see what the event says. Famine. We're going to add 2 cold tokens to the cold space. Place this card on the findings pile. The value of canned food, raw food, and vegetables is raised by 3. So that means they become more valuable. Okay, I don't know how that really affects us yet. We'll see. I'm not sure, but it's nice to know that that's going to happen. Okay. Now, again, we can... we're going to continue to explore, so I'm going to draw the next exploration card. It says climb up, look for another way, return 3 exploration cards, or climb. Roll the gray combat die for each scavenging character. Characters may use their prowess 3 roll to determine how many wounds they suffer during the climb. Yeah, I don't think we want to do that. See, or we can end our exploration, draw a color card, and see what happens. I don't think we want to do any of those. Ah, man, let's see. Return 3 exploration cards. It's going to leave us with 1. Or roll the gray die for each. So the gray die, it's going to be 1. Well, there's not. The most I could take is 2 wounds, I think. Let's give it a shot. We're going to climb up. We're going to take a chance. Okay. We're going to climb up and take a chance. Okay, so this gray die, it basically has 1 space with 2 wounds, 1 space with one wound, and the rest are blank. So our odds are pretty good. Sorry, rolled it out. Blank. Okay, good. We took no wounds in climbing up. So what does that mean? Okay, determine how many we get. So we did not get any, and we didn't have to return any exploration cards. So we're just going to discard that. And we'll draw again. So where was I climbing up to from the basement? Stairs up. Look for another way. Okay, can we get any stuff? I mean, come on, cards. Let's do this. All right, look for another way. Return 2 cards or enter. Raise the noise and roll. Raise the noise level by 2 and roll. I guess we'll return 2 cards. I don't know. Getting a little frustrated with this. And that's all the cards. So, well, let me think about that then, because we won't have any other cards. All we didn't get that much stuff, man. This is ridiculous. Okay. So we can look for stairs, okay, I'm going to have to raise the noise level by 2, put it up to 7, and we're going to roll because that's how this goes. Okay, let's give it a try. I got the D10 here. I want to be able to continue to scavenge a 7. So we rolled exactly. Is it equal to or below? I got to look at the rules and see. Is it equal to or below on the noise level? I'm not sure. So whenever the game tells you, okay, equal to or less. So we are going to draw another resonance card. Probably seriously pushing our luck here. I don't know. Hobos. Okay, determine the number of hobos encountered. Roll black die. Okay, so here's our black die roll. Lots of black die rolling. 6. Okay, there's going to be 3 hobos, and draw their tokens. Hobos are armed. A, nothing. B, nothing. Or B, knife. C, hatchet. Place this card on the exploration slot until you leave the location. Whenever you take anything from an exploration card marked private, roll the black die. Result is combat begins. So there's these hobos here, but I don't have to fight them. If there is no combat, you may return 1 exploration card to talk to them. You know what? I think so. This goes in this pile here. There are 3 hobos, so I'm going to get these tokens out for them. Not that we're going to need them, because I am not. It's not nothing private in the warehouse, so I'm not going to fight them. But we got A, B, and C here. So I don't know if these are the right tokens, but we got A. A is unarmed, right? Yeah, A has nothing, so he's unarmed. And B has both B and C have melee weapons. So we'll put them there, and that'll be that for right now. And then I think, but we're not going to fight them. We're going to give up 1 of the exploration cards to talk to them. Okay, and then I'm going to get the journal back out. We're going to see, talking to them, we're going to go to 904 in the book to talk to the hobos. We're not trying we're trying to be civil people. We're not trying to do anything terrible. So 904, it says, none of us look particularly pretty these days, but some people are downright repulsive. Few people talk to them, and judging by their looks, they probably can't tell you anything useful. The man looks more like a bear than a human being. His beard is shaggy and thick as fur. His hands are thick as loaves of bread. His small eyes measure us up. Roll a black die. Okay, we're going to roll another black die. Let's keep rolling black dice. All right. 8. That's probably a good thing, I hope. An 8 is a middle result. We're going to pop over to 1112. Let's see what that does for us. 1112. There's a lot of entries in this book, I'll tell you that right now. They're pretty well written so far from what I can tell. 1112. Okay, the townfolk think you're better than... You townfolk think you're better than us, always judging, ridiculing. Do you think we're all dimwits just because there are no big shops where we live? So what good do those stores bring you? Now you're all suffering, and I'm pretty sure you're suffering more. Why? Because not many of you know how to work with your hands. You people grew soft with all the things that you were able to buy in those beautiful, shiny shops of yours. And what can you do now? Now that there are no more shops, no more vendors, maybe this experience will finally teach you something. Maybe then you'll show us some respect. Okay, well, he yells at us, and then we go back to the game. That's the hobo, so I wasted a card for nothing. Okay, well, we'll leave that out. We're going to draw our last exploration card because I'm trying to get stuff. Okay, rubble. Dig through the rubble. Return 1 exploration card and raise the noise level. We can't. So what if we can't? I guess that means we end it, right? Yeah, I guess we're going to end it here. So it says check the current location. It says there's no rubble. If there is no rubble, discard this card and draw a new card from the exploration deck. Okay, so we discard this and we draw a new card from the exploration deck. Private. Okay. You may ignore this card, search the pantry, return 2 exploration cards, draw to resolve 1 card and the findings. So we can't. We're going to have to then end our scavenging first by drawing a color card. Let's see, shuffle those up and see what they give us. Then we're going to read the entry on the end of our exploration, I think. Yep. Okay. Let's see what we get. Green again. Okay, green. So we are going to shuffle those again. We're going to look at the green entry on the card. It is 950. Hopefully something good happens to us as we end our exploration. And I'm going to double check in the journal just to make sure we're doing that right. Yep. When unknown decks depleted, exploration automatically ends. Resolve the choose finding stage. Okay, then we'll go to that stage. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to look at green 460 rather. Sorry, 460. Sorry, I thought it was 960, but it wasn't. Okay, 460. If someone or something is watching over us, it's judged by how we treat those creatures that are weaker than us. We hear a dog whining. A small, miserable dog rubs against our trouser leg. One of its legs is basically a stump. We shoo the dog away. After a while, we manage to discourage the dog. It follows us for a few blocks. It gave up back to the game. Or we'll keep it. 913. Well, let's keep the dog. I like dogs. We'll keep the poor hobbled dog. So 913. Write dog 913 on a blank token and place it on the findings pile space. Okay, so I think I have another option. I have a dog. 913, on the dog will return with us to the shelter. The token will, from now on, represent the dog we decided to keep. Give the dog a name. The dog. We must feed it. During the dusk phase, if you do not feed the dog 1 raw food, canned food, roll the black die. 1 to 3, the dog leaves. Guard, as long as you have the dog in the shelter, you may always look at the top card of the Night Raid deck. Get him, boy. You may sacrifice the dog by removing its card from the game. Automatically flee from a combat with the dog present during the scavenging, or ignore 1 Night Raid card. Okay, and then go back to the game. So we kept the dog. All right, let's deal with that. Okay, well here's Stumpy. I'm putting Stumpy back in there, in our scavenging pile. So we got Stumpy the dog, and then I think that ends our phase. So it says, at the end of the scavenging phase, remove these cards. So we're going to remove them. Remove this one from the game. The civilian ones, says add this one back. At the end of this game, add this one back. So these 2 are going, 1 got removed, the other 2 went back to the deck. And then the other ones get shuffled, or you got to figure out what to do with the, I guess when they run out, we shuffle them up, the cards for the location. Okay, so we have to then go to our resolve findings phase. Okay, it says to shuffle these all back into the deck. All right, we'll do that. And that means the exploration deck is reset. Okay, and then it says to choose findings. Now, I still am unclear on these findings cards. It says, see the corresponding chart below, pantry, furniture, heap, to check what you have found. Did we find all of them, or just get to pick one? The first one is vegetables and 2 coffee. The second one is weapon parts and raw food. The third one is electrical parts, filter, weapon parts. Then roll the black die. We already did that and got the special findings result, which basically resulted in not a dang thing happening for us. So I'm going to try and look that up again just to be sure I'm doing that right. Okay, so the way it works is we do the way it appears to work is we do get to look through all 3, I think, but we get to take the weight value in the total amount. So like the vegetables, the coffee don't weigh anything. I have an inventory of 6 though, so I'm still restricted by that and the weight. So I'm definitely going to want to take as much food as I can. So the vegetables and the raw food, let's get those out. I'm going to put them in the pile for stuff that we're going to take. Yeah, because we're definitely going to take the simple stuff, right? Let me get those out. So, okay, what we did was, I think you only get one of these, so I'm going to assume you get one of these. And the black die roll, which we rolled nothing on, right? Because we rolled a 1. Otherwise, we would have got some more food or something, but we didn't. So we're going to take all 3 of these because we can, and our dog back to our place to help with us. So we return to the shelter, and we got our dog with us. He's going to do his thing. Now, if we don't feed him, he's going to might run away. We've got to keep memories of that, and see what happens with the dog. We can use him to guard too, which allows him to. We can sacrifice him to avoid a bad thing, right? So okay, so we took our stuff back to the inventory, and then we're going to resolve the night. Okay, I'm just looking at this to make sure scavenging returns. Move all the care. Okay, now we have to resolve the night. Meanwhile, in the shelter, someone came in the night to steal our belongings. Choose weapons for the guards. We don't have any weapons. I guess. Yeah, we don't have any weapons, so it's just our guards there. It says draw and resolve the tarp card of the night raid deck. So we're going to do that. Okay, so technically she's still all alone there, guarding the place. So we're going to draw first this card. Whoa, what is this? Choose a character currently on guard duty. Check the misery on the black and roll the black die. Well, so we've got Amelia there. She's got no misery, and let's see, Amelia. This is Amira. Oh, here's Amelia. Misery level 0 or 1. Okay, and we roll a black die. So we'll roll the black die and see what happens. Could be any number of crazy things. So we roll a 3. That's the lowest we could have rolled. Amelia, we're going to check 990 and see what happens to Amelia. She's not very miserable, rather. So hopefully nothing too terrible happens to her. Let's check this out and see. 990. We lived in an expansive villa with spacious, bright rooms and large windows. To protect ourselves from the stray bullets and splinters, we installed a double bed and a small heater in a cozy dressing room on the first floor. We spent most of our time there talking, reading, listening to music, playing games, all to stave off boredom. Back to the game. Really, that's it? Okay, we got to read a little story element, and nothing happened. It says, find that number of the book and resolve it. Afterwards, shuffle this card back into the night raid deck. Okay. Good news, nothing happened during the night. That was a bit of luck. I'm not sure how that works, but that was cool. Okay, we got to shuffle up all our decks. Okay, night raid. We didn't get the crime wave thing, so we moved to the next player. Prowess helps us if we needed to, and we hadn't boarded anything up. So we're going to move on to the next and final phase, which is dawn. So the scavenging party returns now the dog is back. Assign meds and bandages. If there are any meds, no, we don't have that. I do believe, though, that I'm going to look and see if it's in the first phase or the last phase that we should resolve our cold tokens and things like that. That's from the event space, so we don't have to worry about that yet. We know that we're going to draw one with the new event. Move all characters from all tokens back into the storage. I already did that. Assign meds and bandages. Okay. Draw a fate card. Draw one fate card. So I think that we're supposed to take fatigue at some point if we didn't sleep. I'm going to look back on that and just look at that. That's supposed to be at the beginning of the scavenging or the evening phase. So yeah, so place a maximum of one character on the bed, sleep on the floor. Place any number of characters sleeping on the floor space lowers these characters' fatigue by 2. So she could have slept on the floor or on the bed, it doesn't matter. Guard duty, they're going to get a fatigue 1, and scavenging, they're going to get a fatigue 1. So what does that mean? Well, it means that we're going to take out these fatigue tokens. These are not currently going to impact us, but they look like, ooh, they do actually. Wow. So fatigue 1 actually does impact our actions this turn. Good thing we're not hungry, or we would have taken 2. So Boris and Amelia have fatigue now, and I'll show you that on their cards in a moment. That should have been done earlier on, so now I've caught up with that. Now we have to draw a fate card. Lots of card drawing stuff in there. I see where this is better played with multiple people because each of you takes a portion of it and figures it out. Let's go to the fate deck. Okay, fate deck is up here. I don't think I shuffled this one. I'm just going to give it a quick shuffle and make sure there's not that many cards in the fate deck. But what happens? Let's see. It says raise wounds of all wounded characters. We don't have any. Lower illness of all characters who took meds. We don't have any. If cold tokens minus board ups are 4, raise the illness level. We don't have to worry about that. Exchange the nearest small location. If there is no exchange, the nearest medium location. Resolve weight tokens. We don't have anywhere. And resolve a spirit. Okay, I'll show you what that does in a second. Let's go first to the location. We do have one small location. That's this one here. So it is going to go away, and we're going to get a new location out. It is going to be a ruined villa, which is also small, and that is going to go right there. So the hotel has been destroyed or something like that. Now let's go to our the rest of this card, the spirit part. See that each of our characters has the spirit check things. So this one says to resolve A. So if Boris is fatigued, level 2 or 3 raises misery. He's not, so we don't have to worry about that. If any character in the group is hungry, they're level 3, raise Sveta's misery by 1. They're not. And Amelia has a habit. Discard 1 coffee from the storage or raise Amelia's misery by 1. Well, we do have a coffee, so she is going to drink some coffee, and that is going to keep her from having that problem. So we discarded that, and that resolves this portion of the card. And it says, roll a die. This weapon is jammed until the end of the turn, the end of the combat. Okay, that doesn't matter. So basically that resolves our fate card. Then we shuffle that back, or I guess we shuffle it back in. I'm not sure. Let me see. Draw a fate card, exchange locations far space. Okay. Then we draw 2 narrative action cards and pick one. So lots of stuff going on. Let's go do that. Okay. Here's the narrative action cards. I don't think I shuffled those either. I'm going to shuffle them up real quick and see what we get. We get to draw 2 and pick one. I'm going to draw 2, and I'll just tell you which one I pick. We got Vigilant Watch, play during the night raid phase. Lower the damage wounds of a single raid. That might be good. Or Who's There, play at the end of any phase, draw and resolve 2 cards from the visitors deck. So visitors are people that show up at our door. I got to look and see when that happens. I think, though, this will be more important to us. We're going to take that one. After playing this card, we remove it from the game. And then this one goes back into the narrative deck for later. Okay, so that was our narrative action cards. And we got to shuffle that. We got to shuffle that deck back. Then it says some other things about using alcohol or having someone die. Then it says we can save the game at this point. There's a book to do that. We're not going to do that yet. And then we circle back around to morning. So we're going to stop here, guys. You saw what that was. The first full round. It'll get faster as I go, as I get used to the game and start to understand the combat and the actions and how they work. Again, I'm trying to play this as it's stated without reading the rulebook, which is a challenge. I'm telling you that right now. I guess if you had a room full of people around you, it would be easier to do. Plus, I don't know what's good or what's bad yet. So, anyway, guys, this, again, is This War of Mine. It is a pretty depressing game. As you saw, we ran into miserable civilians and hobos that told us off about us living in our, being able to shop in our fancy stores and everything. And we came back with a hobbled dog that can help protect us. That's pretty cool. And we'll see how the dog goes as we go forward. So now again, we're going to have to feed the dog, and I don't have enough food. We're going to have to really work on that part because we need to know how to get more food before the end of before the time where we have to feed them, which is, I think, at dusk. Yeah. So we're probably going to take some hunger again, which could knock us down to knock some people down to really low fatigue, or low if we don't get that processed and sorted out with the fatigue and the hunger. Okay, so here are our players. We got our 3 characters and our dog. They're hanging out. When do the civilians come and knock outside the door? I got to look at that. They're supposed to come at some point, I guess. I'm going to read through this again and just see. Maybe it's from a card draw or something. It says outside. Oh, if you go outside, roll the black die first. If a 1 is rolled, the character placed here is hit by a sniper and suffers 2 wounds. Then draw and resolve a visitor's card. If the number of characters in the group is 2 or less, search the visitor's deck for the first arrival card and resolve it. If the number of so we have 3 in our group still, I think. Is that how it works? Yeah, number of characters. So anyway, I guess that's an action. We can go see if people come. We can try and get another character to join us, which might be really, really helpful. But anyway, guys, that is it for our first round. I'm going to review it. Tell me if I did something wrong, because, again, I'm trying to play it the way the rules tell you. That's just by trying it out and seeing how it goes. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. But, guys, we'll talk next time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll talk to you soon. Again, this is the new board game, This War of Mine. Thanks. Take care.